President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva started his third term in office with bad signs and could throw the country into a fiscal crisis, evaluates Samuel Pessôa, a researcher at FGV and one of the most influential economists in Brazil. Pessôa was the guest of the 29th episode of Market Makers, a podcast hosted by Thiago Salomão and Renato Santiago. In the interview, the expert stated that Lula began playing against the economy when he put almost 2 percentage points of GDP in extra spending on an already problematic budget. The economist is referring to the Transition PEC, approved during the administration of Jair Bolsonaro, which released 145 billion Brazilian reals outside the spending ceiling to cover expenses such as the Bolsa Família and 600 Brazilian reals, Lula's campaign promise, the Auxílio Gás and the People's Pharmacy. This is direction spent is life, this is Lula demolished. What's more, every piece of good economic news becomes public spending. If this does not change, we will have a fiscal crisis, he says. Despite this, Pessôa says that if Brazil starts to face a new fiscal crisis, this one would be smaller than in the Dilma Rousseff administration, when the GDP plummeted 3%. This fiscal crisis, if it comes in the second half of the year, it will be much smaller than the 2015 crisis. Because we've been fixing the country since 2015 until now. The country is much better, he says. He recalls that in 2015 there was greater interventionism, where everything was bad, including state-owned companies, productivity, in addition to inflationary repression to control prices. A blessed legacy of Paulo Guedes are state-owned companies that are unleveraged, generating cash. This alleviates the fiscal crisis. We passed some reforms that increased the efficiency of the economy. From 2015 to now, I think there's been a nice package. We have to be proud of that, he observes. In his view, Lula needs to be more fiscally responsible. Lula always says that he never made a deficit, but he never made a fiscal adjustment either. He inherited a tidy fiscal position. He never acknowledged that fact, and that's an annoying thing, he argues.